First question. Should the Bengals blow it up, or should they go out and find improvements considering they didn't make the playoffs?
They got to improve that defense, man. They got to Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. Well, one, they should have paid Jamar Chase last offseason because now they're going to have to give him an insane amount of money after the Triple Crown. They need to get Jamar Chase and T. Higgins back in that building. They want to be there. Joe Burrow wants them. Joe Burrow did not want Lou Anarumo fired as DC. They let go all of their prime defensive talent outside of Trey Hendrickson. I mean, they're clearly missing Jesse Bates in the back end. He was a leader of that back end. They need to add so much talent to the defensive side of the ball. They have to attack it during the draft because you don't have the cap space. You got to pay Chase. You got to pay Higgins, right? But no, they shouldn't blow it up. You have a top 5 quarterback in Joe Burrow where if he's healthy, just get off to a hotter start in the beginning of the season, man. Like how many years do we have to say this, man? Out of the gates, they need to start rolling and stacking wins so they're not playing from behind and trying to play catch up all season. But no, they have too many good players in their primes to just blow it up.
Yeah, no, that's note to self. Don't take the Bengals in Survivor week 1 through 3. But yeah, no, obviously, I wouldn't say blow it up. I mean, you'd like to see him to hit a refresh. I actually would be okay with them letting T. Higgins walk and allocating some of that money for the defense. I know Joe Burrow wants him, but if you decide to pay T. Higgins and you pay Jamar Chase and all these guys, the defense still is not getting fixed. So you need to put money towards that defense. And obviously, pick 17, like you could lock it in. That's going to be a defensive player, but that still will not solve all those defensive issues. So I would let T. Higgins walk and put that money towards a defensive player or two.
Now, should the Falcons blow it up or go out and find improvements?
They got to improve, man. You're not blowing anything up. Kirk Cousins is going to be gone. You got Michael Penix, a young quarterback that showed some flashes, like a little inconsistent, but the dude's got an arm, an absolute cannon, right? So I love their offense. Their offensive line is great. The weapons that you have around them, like Darnell Mooney was a great find as your number 2 this year. You could still add another receiver, I think, but Drake London, I mean, look at that game he just had this past weekend. Dog. Building a great rapport with Penix already. Bijan Robinson's a top 5, probably top 3 running back in football. You have the pieces on offense. You got to figure out the defense. It's time to address pass rush. Finally, it feels like every year we do a mock draft, and it's like Falcons, pass rusher, they need it, and they never take one. You got to address the pass rush. You got to add some more pieces to the back end of that defense, but it wouldn't shock me at all if the Falcons won the NFC South next year.
I'm actually was going to say the opposite because you're not really going to blow it up, but the Kirk Cousins contract really does, hurt this team. But I wouldn't be shocked if they finish dead last in the NFC South next year, because we're putting a lot of faith in Michael Penix, and it was a small sample size. He definitely showed, he was better than Kirk Cousins, but to act like he's just going to fix it all next year is still to be seen. So if it doesn't work out and he is not the guy, then they're screwed because you have all that money tied up to Kirk Cousins and you just took a prime pick on a quarterback. And neither guy was the answer. So if that is a future, which could be the future for the Falcons, they're really in trouble where they will be blowing up the team completely next year. So, and Raheem Morris was a guy that, obviously kept his job, but he could have been fired even after this year. It was a big disappointment. So, he's a guy that'll be in the hot seat real quick next year if they start out of the gate slow because it's a very wide open division. But if you struggle in the worst division in football next year, he's 100% gone. And they could be a team drafting a quarterback in 2026 if it doesn't go well.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see that path. I think Penix has shown enough where, I mean, dude,
they finished, though.
But they finished 8-9, and for
in the worst division in football.
Yes, but for a 6-game stretch, Kirk Cousins threw like one touchdown and 9 picks. He was terrible. And their contract, they set it up where there's an out after year 2 where there's not a ton of dead money where, yes, it's going to strap them next year. They're not going to be able to add as much talent as they should. But after that, that contract's not going to be that much of a burden on their books.
Yeah, they just have to. I mean, at this point, you just have to hope Penix works out.
And also, I think there's no way the Falcons are worse than the Saints next year. The Saints are like negative. They're like negative 30 or negative 40 million in cap debt. And they have Derek Carr and Spencer Rattler. They're rolling out Spencer Rattler next year, dude. They're rolling out Spencer Rattler for a full season.
Don't doubt the Rat Man. Do not doubt the Rat Man.
I'm sorry. I'm going to put my faith in Michael Penix in that offense over the Rat Man in that offense.
And now, should the Dolphins blow it up, or should they go out and find improvements?
Miami's in a tough spot. This is a tough one, man, because Tyreek Hill wants out. Problem with the Dolphins, they're just so soft up front. Tua can't stay healthy, where like that's always, and you already paid him, but that's always in the back of your mind is like, we were saying it before the season, one more concussion, you never know. He got another concussion. Here we are in the offseason, one more concussion. You know what I mean? It's just, you can't blow it up though, because you have so much money invested in veteran players. Like, I don't know. They do have some, like Chop Robinson is a really nice player from this year. Like, I do like some pieces that they have, but I mean, Devon Achane, Jalen Waddle, like you do have some young building blocks, but I don't know, dude. Dolphins are a really tough spot.
Yeah, my gut says blow it up. Obviously you can't get rid of Tua, but I would say try to get a lot of those bigger veteran contracts off the book, and try to retool. Like maybe take a year where you are one of the bottom teams, but get all those big contracts off. See if you can run it back in 2 years from now, build around Tua with a whole new thing, because maybe even a new coach. Because obviously they're bringing Chris Greer, the GM, back. You're bringing Mike McDaniel back, so they're giving them another chance. But if they start off slow next year and it's injury riddled with Tua, you'd assume they're cleaning house. And then, they'll bring in a new coach, and that new coach would probably be under the perspective that Tua still will be his quarterback. So I think you blow it up. I just can't see, with how deep the AFC is, that this team will ever be able to compete. And it's still like, even if they are able to compete in the regular season, like you have to get a 1 seed, because it's still, they haven't proven that they can win in the cold temperatures come playoff time. So
And look at the teams that are going to run the AFC, Reagan. Kansas City, Buffalo, and Baltimore, all cold city teams.
yeah, and look at some of the, like, Pittsburgh's in there. You
Yeah, I'm
expect
not
they'll
worried
be
about
doing good.
Pittsburgh, dude.
You would
Mike
imagine the
Tomlin's
Bengals will be
special.
better. No, I'm just saying though, like teams that could end up being the higher seed that they'd run into. The Bengals are like, I don't know. I would blow it up. That's what I think for the Dolphins.